it's funny too because I had graduated debt free because I didn't want to take any school loans out, and I was doing magic and comedy to pay my tuition to not have debt. And then, after college and pursuing this, now I'm in debt, trying to. So it was just funny to me how it was just so the irony of it was just so backwards. So,
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. Well, if you're watching online, you'll notice that Scott is not here again. He's been busy with work and a lot of things going on right now. So it'll just be me and Victoria for today's show. But as you know, we're okay with that. So Victoria, I asked you earlier if you liked magic or if you did magic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you like magic?
Yeah, I like watching it. I haven't done it. My siblings got a kit like when they were younger, and they tried it, but never went further than that.
I see. Well, I like magic. I like looking up, books when I was little, or sometimes there was like a store that sold magic, and I didn't really get into like a lot of the tricks, but cards I really enjoyed. And then later on, I learned from other people who learned or did card tricks, and it was all about the performance. And we had Christine, the magician, on.
Yeah.
And then some of the my favorite, I would say, magicians were also like comedians, and they would blend their magic with comedy. I was like, oh, that's so smart, because magic is a lot about the performance too, right? Mm-hmm. So why not perform and make it funny? So I love to see that kind of combination. I think it's pretty cool. So
yeah.
All right. Before we get into today's guest, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the treats. Like always for our guests, check them out in the city of San Gabriel. Paris Baguette. Say hi to Jason for us. All right, let's go to today's guest. Today's guest is a master of both comedy and magic, captivating audiences on global stages and national TV. Currently on a 6-month, sold-out international tour across Australia, China, and beyond, he's earning rave reviews and standing ovations everywhere he goes. This talented performer wowed millions on NBC's America's Got Talent and has appeared on Fox's Fast Track to Fame, Comedy Central, Discovery Channel, and even consulted for OneRepublic's award-winning music video, Love Runs Out. Known as the comedian's magician, he's hit venues like the Improv, Comedy Store, and Laugh Factory, and his corporate gigs include giants like Google and McDonald's. Beyond the stage, he's dedicated to charitable causes, entertaining military personnel, and raising funds for children's hospitals. From Las Vegas to Manhattan, his shows are booked solid. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the incredible Justin Rivera. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow, did you write that?
I did, yeah.
Amazing. I was like, dude, I gotta add that to my press kit.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoy the writing process, like taking your bio and looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, I was like, why not hype them up? Because how cool would that be, right, for them? So I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, no, it was really cool.
So, Justin, I forgot how we connected. I think it was probably through another comedian, right?
Yeah, I think it was Ricky Schietta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So before we get into that, what is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
Well, I was pretty much raised my first 4 years of life out here. We lived in El Monte and Monrovia, so we were out here for a few years, and just where were we at? Over on off Peck Road, and Bryant.
Okay.
Peck Road and Bryant, yeah. So that's where first house was out in El Monte, yeah.
And then where'd you go after that?
Then once houses were being built out in the IE and Chino Hills, like the new town, we all moved out there. It was basically just like dirt and a dairy farms and manure, dirt roads. There was like a Jack in a Box and Albertsons, and even our house didn't have a paved road. It was still dirt, like it was that new. So yeah, everything was like expanding east, towards Inland Empire. Yeah.
Is that like Seco Canyon Road, like off of the 71?
Soco Canyon, yeah. Soco Canyon off the 71, yeah. It's I'm a little bit farther down. Look, a couple exits down, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you left the SGV to go for greener pastures out there?
Yeah,
huh?
basically greener pastures, manure, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but you were born here, but you also do some of your work out in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah. I perform out here. Over the years, I mean, I've done shows at a lot of the churches here too. Temple City. I have some relatives that go to that church here at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Temple City, and what was the other school there? There's a San Gabriel Adventist Academy, like a private academy.
Okay.
Done some shows out there. So yeah, I mean, even Alhambra, we had like comedy shows out here, Latin comedy shows, and yeah, just a bunch of stuff out here. And always this Alhambra and pretty much SGV was like always like the late night food spot on the way back to the IE, from a gig in LA. So it was always like a good place to visit.
Do you remember anything about growing up in like El Monte?
Let's see. We lived next door to a Vietnamese Adventist church. I remember that. It's probably one of the reasons why we moved there, because I was raised Adventist. We were there, and let me see. I remember across the street there was a 7-Eleven, and this is my first time ever getting being obsessed with like the 7-Eleven nachos as a kid, like the chili cheese nachos. Like we would get it all the time there. There was a little Caesars there. I think it's still there. I drove by it not too long ago. Memories too. On Peck Road there was the Chuck E. Cheese on Peck Road. There we go there quite a few times, and we used to go there a lot too because my babysitter was this old Mexican lady. Her son worked at the Chuck E. Cheese, so we would go there all the time, and he would like hook us up with all these free tickets and like free tokens. And I remember going to his room and seeing like stacks of tickets, like how they're like pre-folded and you load like a big stack into the machine. Like he had those, and I always thought like, oh man, like he must be really good at the games. But I didn't know that he actually like was in charge of like putting tickets into the machines. And it's cool because he's actually now like head corporate for Chuck E. Cheese, and like somewhere in Texas is like the HQ, the headquarters for Chuck E. Cheese now. So yeah, there's a lot of good memories, man. First time having, I think Mexican food was the first time in El Monte. That was the first time I seen an old Mexican lady warm up tortillas with her bare hand on the stove with like her fingers, you know what I mean? And I remember seeing her as a kid thinking like, isn't that hot? How come she's not getting burned? You know what I mean? Like it was so much different, like discovering the world was like pretty cool and pretty fun out here. I think it was the Santa Anita Mall. We used to go trick-or-treating there in the mall and go to C's candy stores, and it was just good times growing up here in SGV.
Yeah. The 7-Eleven nachos, I probably hadn't had that since like high school, but remember they used to come with like the round tortilla chips, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the chili was like, you press the button, right?
It was in a pump. And I remember as a kid, like it was so good, like because it had like the lid, and it had like kind of like ridges in the lid. And I remember the chili and cheese getting into those ridges, and as a kid I would stick my finger in the ridges to like scoop it out the ridges and eat it. It was so good. It was like one of my favorite food memories as a kid.
And they had like no limit on toppings too, right?
No, like you could just literally like dump the whole thing in there. It was crazy.
Yeah. So when in your life did you start to develop, this, I guess it's your comedy or your magic, or where did that start?
Well, the magic came first. I was 6 years old, and I got a magic kit for my birthday, and I asked for it because growing up, like 4 or 5 years old too, like you see magic on TV in like the 80s and 90s. David Copperfield was like the man, you know, and remember he had a TV special every year for like 20 years, so he was like the biggest like celebrity magician of pretty much of all time. And so I really got into interested because of seeing him on TV, and then I got the magic key for my birthday, and just really like, you know, went on this deep dive and just really went at it. It just kind of unlocked and really sparked this whole interest, and I had to learn more. I had to like, I don't know, there was just something about it that was it was just so interesting to me, you know, like seeing this like whole new world that like no one really knows about or really understands and or can figure out. Like that was such a cool thing to, you know, to do. So I was a kid that never really grew out of magic, you know what I mean? So I think everyone goes through the magic phase, like Victoria and her siblings, you know, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I just, you know, like I said, never really grew out of it.
And what is your ethnic background?
I'm Filipino.
Both your parents are Filipino. And what did they think? I mean, they give you the gift, so they were. Did they support your, you know, your desires here?
Well, you know, in the beginning, from like a kid, all throughout my youth, you know, they were very supportive. Took me to the magic shop. I joined the magic club there for the kids, and then we would put on shows for the community every Friday night. So they would always be driving me there. You know, buying me, you know, tricks and props and costumes, you know, and magic isn't it's a pretty expensive hobby, you know. So, you know, they were spending all kinds of money on that and taking me to like magic conventions, you know, traveling. One time we went to a magic convention overseas. It was like Portugal. Vegas, you know, watching all kinds of shows. So they're very supportive.
Oh, it sounds like it.
Yeah, you know, they took me to my gigs. You know, my first gig was I was 12 years old for a kid's birthday party. So yeah, they were very supportive and encouraging, you know, me throughout my youth. And then until I became an adult, I think I was like 22. I decided to pursue it full time, and then that was a different story. So
from them,
you know, like Asian parents and kids trying to pursue entertainment or let alone magic. You know what I mean? It was that was a different story. You know, it was like a hard thing to for them to process. You know, so yeah, you know, it's different for them. Like they come from a different generation. They came from the Philippines, worked hard to come here, and I think trying to create these opportunities for their kids, you know, to grow up and be successful. And I don't think like magic was like one of those ideas, or that wasn't in their plans, you know what I mean? So yeah.
What kind of child were you at that time, you know, from let's say six, when you were searching this out and you know, enjoying it?
Yeah. I think I was a pretty shy kid. I think most entertainers are pretty shy people, and just figuring out what some sort of talent and performing on stage was just their way to like I guess grow out of their shyness and just be more sociable and be more comfortable around people. So yeah, I was a very shy kid. Like I was outgoing on stage, just like off stage it was just kind of to myself, and didn't know how to like really strike a conversation with people. So pretty shy kid, I feel like. But I always knew deep down inside too I was a funny kid. Like I always knew that I was funny, and I think most comedians knew that they were funny at a young age. You know, like they were just different.
So were you practicing like in your room, and then would you set up a little show for your friends and family, or how would you practice your craft?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely always in my room just practicing in front of the mirror.
And is it like sleight of hand stuff you were doing?
Sleight of hand stuff, like basic sleight of hand stuff, and just whatever was in the magic kit, you know, just practice in my room because it's, you know, it's a secret, and you know, can't expose secrets. And as a kid, learning magic, I was really strict on like not sharing secrets and like being hidden and when I was practicing. And I remember my grandfather, he had walked into my room one time and I was practicing my stuff and I was like upset because he walked in on like my practice session and I was like, I had all my secrets out. I was like, no, you can't be here. Like, he's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. He said something like, all right, I'll leave you alone in your laboratory or something like that. Yeah, I was pretty, secretive about stuff like that.
So you decided in your early 20s that you wanted to pursue this.
Yeah.
Had you been doing magic the whole time?
Yeah, so...
But you said at 12 you got your first gig.
First gig was when I was 12 years old. It was like $75 to do an hour. And
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, for 12,
yeah.
this is like 97.
It's really good.
Yeah. And looking back on it, I didn't really have like a show. I just kind of had this like collection of tricks. And I just basically did every single like thing that I knew how to do.
How many people were there?
Oh man, for the kids, it was like a handful, like maybe 10 or so. Like,
all strangers.
Yeah, I think it was my my mom's co-worker's kid.
Okay.
Yeah, from the hospital. She was a nurse, and it was her co-worker's a nurse, and it was her kid's birthday. Somewhere in Glendale, I think it was this show, and $75 for the hour, and when I was 13, 14, high school, just always doing gigs on the weekend, just like my side hustle, and always making money for myself. Like I didn't really have an allowance, and I didn't have like a work permit, like work at McDonald's or whatever. But I was just always just doing that, just doing hustling gigs, and my parents would take me to the gig. I'd do the show, they wait for me there, and then just drive back home. So
how long were these gigs? Like an hour?
Yeah, about an hour or so. About an hour for the show. Just kind of depends. Hours, sometimes a couple hours, just depending on what I was doing, what they wanted me to do. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so high school, just doing these gigs on the side, and was paying for like, school dances and going to prom and like paying for my suit and all that stuff. Like I was able to like save some decent money for a high schooler,
Wow, it sounds like it.
Yeah. I was able to do. I never really had to ask my parents for money as a kid because I was always just kind of performing and making money.
Didn't they see that? Weren't they like, "Oh, you got something here"?
Yes and no. Like they probably thought it was like, "Oh, this is cool." Like he's doing it, as a side thing, and he's making some money back from all the stuff we had invested in because it was like really. Like I said earlier, magic is just an expensive hobby, so it was cool to see that, and it was cool to see people paying him to do one of his talents, But I don't think they ever thought anything more of it other than just like that, like other than just like a fun side hobby, So.
And were you integrating comedy at that time into your show?
I want to say in high school, I started to get more into the comedy side of things, because back then, like Comedy Central was like really big on TV, and I was getting into more of stand up and just watching comedy shows and specials on TV and thinking how funny that is. That's so cool. That's hilarious.
What are some of your favorite shows or comedians?
Oh man, the one special that really changed my life was seeing the Kings of Comedy in movie theaters. Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Bernie Mac. So I mean, I just remember being in high school watching that my senior year and just like laughing so hard in the theaters and thinking like, man, I want to make people laugh on some level. I don't know if I could be in an arena like that, but just I knew I wanted to like do something like that, and just make strangers laugh, So high school definitely started trying to incorporate some sort of comedy, and in college too, I really started to take it more serious in college, just doing more like open mics and comedy open mics, and trying to work my way into clubs while I was in college. And it was good to do, because magic and comedy was it was always been a side hustle. So in college, it actually helped pay for a tuition and books, and I was able to, pursue a business degree at UC Riverside, and graduate on time. And
so you're just doing your magic on the side this whole time,
on the side,
still getting
yeah.
booked for those gigs, and you're practicing comedy on open mics, or you're doing it with your magic gig also?
I was also mixing with the magic, and
how was that received?
It was received pretty well. I had like a good magic base and a good magic background, so I knew that was strong, and I always knew I was funny, because even in my regular magic shows, my own private shows, not like comedy shows or comedy clubs, like I was always getting like a laugh somehow, some way, like with either like a quick little one-liner, or just some little riff, or just bantering with the crowd, or ad-libbing here and there, and I was getting all these laughs, like just constantly getting laughs. And it wasn't anything that I had written down, and I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna say this line during this trick. Like, it was just me, like, having fun with the crowd. So, and it wasn't just like chuckles, like there were like big laughs, like I was getting these laughs, and I was like, oh man, like there's got to be a way where I can just like keep doing these tricks and getting that same kind of reaction from the crowd. So that's when I started to realize in the mics, where I try to recreate that moment with that timing and that line I had improvised, and try to repeat it again in a planned environment where I meant to say that. It wasn't just made up on the spot. So that's how the whole act kind of developed, was just me making something up and then trying to recreate that like in another show, where I meant to do that.
So where do you get your comedy from? Like, what's your inspiration, either if it's like on the spot, or if you're thinking up jokes to go with your magic act?
Well, yeah, it's always been made up on the spot, but lately, in these last couple of years, like I've just been into more current events, and just social issues, and just seeing like stuff that's happening around the world, and trying to incorporate those into the show as like a reference to something, or I could reference that in a trick or a joke, just to let people know that like it isn't just magic and comedy, but there's like some thought like put into the act, and also relating to the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, cause a lot of magicians, they have like their standard like lines, but I feel like I relate to more of the crowd, because I'm talking about more. That's the word I was looking for. I'm doing more topical stuff, like just stuff that's like happened now, So, and if I could do a topical joke or a trick with magic, then even better, because then it's like, oh wow, I never thought someone could talk about current events and then also do a trick that relates to current events. You know what I mean? So, so that's where it is. It's been going on lately. Sometimes I'll get inspiration from music, different songs, or even movies, and try to develop a routine based on that. So if you see the show, my full show, you'll kind of see elements of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other magicians, or I'm sorry, other comedians have said that the performance can get addictive, right? Like getting the laughs or having a great show. Do you find telling a great joke or having the audience respond with laughter equally as fun or addictive as wowing them with magic, or where does that lie for you?
Yeah, I think they're pretty much equal, but also when I do just straight magic tricks, and I'm not trying to go for laughs, it does feel weird to me that I'm not getting the laugh because I'm doing a serious magic trick. Like, I have to like sometimes switch my brain sometimes and realize that, oh yeah, like I'm just doing a trick. I'm not trying to like be funny right now. So, but then it just because I've been pursuing the comedy angles for so long, it does feel weird that I'm not getting a laugh. Like there's just more of a satisfaction for me getting a laugh, especially if it's coming through a magic trick. You know, like it's just even more satisfying.
Sure.
You know, because it's hard to get a laugh, like an original like comedic idea that elicits a laugh, but then doing that through a trick too. It's just like it's double. You know what I mean? It's just even more gratifying for me because it's like, oh wow, oh that's hilarious, you know, and like, oh cool, like these actual thoughts like resonate with people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, Justin, we ask each guest to bring an item with them. What did you bring with you today?
I brought one of my first magic books when I was a kid. Yeah, it's called The Great Book of Magic. I first found this book in the library. I think it was the Diamond Bar Library. We were in Chino Hills, so I would, as a kid, I would go to all the libraries, local libraries, and just check out magic books. The Chino Hills Library didn't have this one, but I found this one in Diamond Bar. And I always thought it was just a cool book because it's not your typical magic book, because this one has a lot of history of magic and other magicians and how these tricks came to be and how they were developed and the idea behind it and why they were created. And they had more advanced tricks in there too. It wasn't like simple like kids tricks. Like it actually kind of gave you a behind the scenes of like more of a stage show, you know, which I was really into as a kid, performing stage magic. Like I was doing making doves appear in a tuxedo. Like I was that kid. I was I was that magician. Because also Lance Burton was like one of my magic idols. He was always in a tuxedo and making birds. He was a very famous headliner in Vegas at the Monte Carlo for like 20 years, something like that. So it was a really, really cool book. And I actually just got this copy this month. Someone had posted it on Facebook for sale. And I was like, oh, that's the book. And I was like, I wonder if I can get a copy of that somewhere. And on Amazon, it was like dirt cheap on Amazon. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I just got it because it was just nostalgia for me. And then when you had said, hey, you want to bring something that means something to you, I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. I just got this. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for bringing that.
Yeah, man.
It looks familiar to me. I think I may have like came across this when I was little. I don't have a specific memory, but it's interesting. There's a certain smell to this book.
Dude, I know exactly what you're saying. Like it's just like has like this like old stale not mustiness, but just like
I don't know how to explain it.
It's like man, it's like a old mustiness, I guess. Like when you go to the library, and there's these books that just been sitting there the whole time and they haven't been open in like decades.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean, man. It's just that smell just really brought back like memories of finding it in the library. And a quick little side note too, when I was like in 2010, how old was I then? Like in my somewhere in my 20s, one of my first shows for like a library was at Diamond Bar Library. I told the librarian, oh, one of my first magic books I checked out here. I wonder if it's still here. And they actually still had that book. It's the same book in Diamond Bar Library. So it was pretty cool to like come across it again after all these years and do a show there.
Yeah. Well, Justin, I want to get more into like your career now, how that's going, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh!
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Justin. Justin, before the break, you were sharing about this book, and that was a really cool story. Thank you for bringing that in. Before we get into your story a bit more, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers, and it's just a way for the audience to get to know us a little bit better. So here we go. Describe your worst date ever.
Worst date. I was probably, okay. This was like 2010. It was a Valentine's Day, and I had been interested in this girl for like a few months, and I thought I was vibing with her, like, because we've been hanging out for a few months, just going out eating, just doing random general hanging out, and I was like, I really like this girl. I think she's really cool. So I asked her out for Valentine's Day, like on a date, and she said yes. So naturally I'm thinking, all right, cool, like she's interested, right? It's Valentine's Day and it's a date. So I pick her up and then we go out, and then like during dinner, like it comes out like that she's just sees me more of like as just like a really good friend. Like, and we're just like hanging out like on Valentine's Day as like a, what's the word? Like a kind of like a what's that? Like, what do they say now? Like a single awareness day kind of thing. Like just friends hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? Like, I thought, and she's like, oh no, like I just, we're just like, and I was just kind of like, taken back and just kind of like shocked. I was just like, it's like I asked you on a date, I asked you for Valentine's, you said yes. So I'm thinking the whole time, like, this is you know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know, I've never heard of like friends just going out on a date on Valentine's Day. So
did you say that to her?
In more or less, in more or less the same words, not exact words, but essentially it's what I was saying. So I was just like, she's like, I'm so sorry, I hope we can still be friends, and like we're still friends. It's just I was just like I was just like, on Valentine, you're gonna friend zone me on Valentine's Day, middle of the date. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like actual Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? I picked her up. She's all,
sorry, I'm laughing because you're smiling.
It's funny now, like you think about it, just like this is bizarre. You know what I mean? Like, she was dressed nice. She had baked me like this like heart-shaped cookie. Like I was like, you know what I mean, Victoria? Like, I don't know, like what else, how else I could not perceive this. And
yeah. So
literally at the dinner table we're eating, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So that's probably the worst. Yeah, the worst date probably. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Victoria?
I haven't really gone on any dates, so I've only gone on one so far, and that was a good one. So
okay,
I don't have any worst.
No worst.
Good. But I mean, as a female, just from your females, you don't have to agree with me or disagree. You don't have to agree with me, but I mean, if a guy asks you out on a date for Valentine's Day, like, isn't that like pretty obvious, or
yeah, I think since Valentine's Day, that would kind of ping me off, even if we were hanging out before. But
yeah, I
at least would have checked like with my sisters or with my other friends, like, what do you think of going out Valentine's Day with a friend? Yeah,
I think I don't know. So I mean, the intent was a little bit more, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The intent was, I don't know how much more clear the intent has to be.
Yeah. Well, my worst date ever was, I've spoken about this relationship before. It was a really bad relationship, but this particular date and this particular individual could change after one drink or 3 drinks or 4 drinks. Okay? So I think she was like maybe a bottle of wine in, and I got a text from a client who was female, and that just like set her off. And then we had to leave the restaurant early, and she ends up like jumping out of my car on Melrose Boulevard, and like I'm trying to close the door, and she gets out, and she's now she's walking away. I'm trying to follow her. I finally stop her and ask her to get back in the car, and she was a brown belt in karate. And she hit me in the chest, and that was the first time I ever in my life had physical like contact. It was just a horrible night. It was a horrible night,
dude.
She
hit you like a punch or a kick?
Yes, a solid punch, like right in the chest. And I was so shocked because, like, 1, I never expected that, and 2, like, it really hurt. I was like, wow. I was so in shock. Yeah.
Dude. That's
That was not good.
dude. I'd rather have that than be friend zoned on a date on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
Because at least
tough.
you know.
Well, if you're watching online, let us know. Describe your worst date ever. So, Justin, back to you. You decided that around after college you wanted to pursue this full time. And how has that been? Has it been a really good trajectory for your career, or were there ups and downs?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of ups and downs. I mean, showbiz, showbiz in general is just hard in any like field of showbiz, and I mean, let alone magic. You know what I mean? Because it's not as mainstream as comedy or acting or music, and then just being Asian in showbiz in general, like it's just not as. I mean, it's better now, and Asians are more in the spotlight now as far as mainstream entertainment industry. But like coming up, it wasn't like really a thing or as prevalent, or there weren't as many opportunities. Like a lot of the Asian comedians I knew coming up, like we had to create our own shows, Asian Comedy Night, and do those kind of shows for the Asian community, and then hopefully make some noise and have build some sort of reputation to like take it to other venues, other crowds, So it was definitely hard just doing that. I remember, and it doesn't pay well right away, like for the first, I started to go full time in 2007, and it wasn't until like maybe 2014 I was making any sort of like regular, consistent, like decent money to like pay bills, because at that point, I think I had racked up like $14,000 in like credit card debt, just trying to like make it, trying to get the career going. And it's funny too, because I had graduated debt free, because I didn't want to take any school loans out, and I was doing magic and comedy to pay my tuition, to not be debt free, to not have debt. And then after college and pursuing this, now I'm in debt, trying to. So it was just funny to me how it was just so the irony of it was just so backwards. So yeah, man, I mean it was definitely a struggle. I mean, like it's like sometimes I wasn't like homeless, but like definitely for like gigs, it was like you had to like sometimes sleep. I had to sleep in my car sometimes to save money, just to like pay some bills, because I didn't want to spend on a hotel. Shower at the gym, you know what I mean? So like it's the doing gigs on the road will like really make or break you, and to make you want to keep pursuing comedy.
Was there a moment there where you're like, okay, now I think I've made it, now like I'm gonna be okay?
What moment was that? I want to say after the first 10 years, after grinding it out and figuring out how to like make some money, that I realized, okay, I think this is how to make some steady money and able to like pay bills and live comfortably, not having to have to, I could pay for a hotel room on this show, you know what I mean, and not have to sleep in the car or whatever, or, so yeah, it definitely took a while. I mean, I think this story is very similar to a lot of entertainers in general, but yeah, it took a while just to like make any sort of consistent money,
And what is the culture like in that? Are they going through the same stuff? Are you guys pulling together, helping each other out to grow, to figure stuff out, or are you kind of on your own?
Are you, as far as like comedy or magic?
Like, do you have a mentor? Is someone showing you the ropes?
Yeah,
helping you with your material? Like,
well, I wouldn't say I had like a mentor, but I mean, there are definitely guys who I feel like I looked up to, or really listened to, as far as advice and just helping bounce back ideas for material, or just like how to work. There's definitely like a core group of comedians that I always talk to that have been around longer and have figured it out, and they're making a living, and if I have questions, I could always ask them about certain things in the business. And they're close personal friends. But yeah, I think coming up in showbiz, whether it's magic or comedy in general, like you really have to like just really network and just like ask questions and just be around and listen, and just show up and hang out. I think that's the key to it all. At least that's how I figured it out, was just being in the room when I needed to be there. Because a lot of magicians try to break it into the comedy scene and they don't know how. And in my head, I'm like, well, I've never seen you like around the comedy clubs at all, like hanging out, just to hang out, just to, chop it up and talk to other comedians or the staff or the manager or whatever, like just kind of, getting an inside scoop on things, that's pretty much what helped me out. So forgot where I was going with this, but what was the original question?
Yeah, that's okay. If you had mentors, someone guiding you along the way.
Yeah, that's what it was, guiding along the way. And it was because of hanging out with those comedians who were like mentors, just hanging out outside in front of a comedy club. That's where I was going with that. So, yeah.
If you can go back and do something differently at the start of your career, what would that be?
Differently at the start of my career? Oh, man. Let's see. It would probably be, probably a couple things. Procrastinating, probably waking up earlier in the day, like not wasting time. Because it's easy as like when you're a young comedian or comic trying to on the way up, you kind of get into like this like rock star mode where you're just kind of like, I'm on my own time, like I'll just do this, I'll do that, but really like you'll be out all night hanging out with the comedians, whatever, have a couple drinks, late night food, do late night shows, and then you come home late and you sleep in, wake up around noon or 1, and that's fun and it's great and it's part of it. But also I feel if I would have maybe woken up and treated it more like a business, like a job, I guess like a day job, treating it more like a business, like waking up during like normal business hours, probably could have been more productive and on the business side of things to get things going more, but every comedian just does this because they don't want to feel like they're working a day job or having to wake up early and do a 9 to 5, so that's also the other like issue with comedians, the whole culture of just like carefree and doing whatever you want to do. So I think that's what I would change, definitely, is waking up earlier and not procrastinating.
I see. Yeah. Well, Justin, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn more about what you like in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Justin, this is what we call the SGV3, and we ask you to share your 3 favorite or most memorable places or experiences in the San Gabriel Valley. So, what would be number 1?
Oh, man. Number 1 definitely would be El Monte.
The city.
The city, okay. Yeah. Not the mountain. Is that mountain?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I asked that, but okay. So why El Monte?
Just that was our first home there, and a lot of fun memories growing up there. We had a huge front yard, and like you could probably put like 2 houses on this yard. And I just remember like going out there and playing every day, and waiting for the mailman to come and deliver the mail, and like me waiting like by the fence to get it. We had our first dog there, playing with the dog, and one time we had some lady like walk up to the house with like a horse, and I think she went door to door asking if people wanted to take pictures, like dress up as a cowboy and take pictures. And I remember we actually did it. Like there's a picture of me somewhere dressed up as a cowboy on a horse on my front yard in El Monte. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And what would be a second place?
Second one in El Monte. What was the other one? It was the Toyota dealership, the Longo Toyota dealership.
Huge. I think it's like the biggest in the
huge
nation, right?
Yeah. That one, that's not a paid sponsor, by the way. But the reason why is just because I remember going there as a kid, and me and my brother, like, we would just we'd have so much fun, like waiting for my dad to, like, buy the first family van. So yeah, there was like a play area there, and like just a bunch of fun stuff for kids. They had like a mascot, and my dad bought a Toyota Previa, and that was like the first family van, and it was just fun going on road trips in that van. So every time I see a Toyota Previa, it's like, oh man, I wish I could like have one of those vans, like just to have like nostalgia feeling, kind of like this book, you know what I mean? And yeah, definitely that Longo Toyota. Is that El Monte too? Is that it is?
I think so.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Right off the 10.
Yeah,
right off the 10 on Peck Road too. Yeah, Peck Road, and we were just down the street from there.
I think a lot of people don't realize how big that is.
No, they don't. They actually have there's like a university there for, like, they call it a university for their training their employees. And I know this because in my 20s, I actually got booked to do a comedy show there, like a corporate show. Oh. So we did 2 shows at the Longo Toyota. And I remember telling that story, this story I just told you. I remember saying it in that show. It was another full circle moment for me as a kid and as an entertainer. So it's a huge place. Like, it's like an underground campus. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. I think that's definitely, those 2 are both first on the show. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see if you can hit all 3, because it's very rare that someone can hit 3 unique SGV3s.
Wow. Let me see. I want to say my third. You said like city or place or anywhere?
Anywhere that's meaningful to you in the SGV.
The other one is probably, I guess these are ties. So one would be like the Santa Anita Mall, going trick-or-treating there, the See's Candy Store, getting the little suckers. And I remember being dressed up as a pirate for that one that year.
So you would go trick-or-treating in the Santa Anita Mall?
Yeah, like we would go like store to store, and See's Candy was always like the best to go because they had all the cool good candy. But also, what was it? It was the first time I had a Tommy's chili burger and fries, and it was, I think that was El Monte too. Yeah, it was that one, because I think I had mentioned earlier about the 7-Eleven chili and cheese. So there, I have fond memories of chili and cheese as a kid.
Yeah, I guess so.
So the Tommy's burgers was like another, and then I forget where it was on. I think it's still there to this day, actually. But yeah, we would always like go there and stop and eat and get Tommy's chilies, and that was just one of my fun memories as a kid. A lot of my memories are around food. I guess that's a fat Filipino thing, but you know, that, and those would be my I guess my top 3.
Yeah, awesome.
Memories coming up in SGV.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those.
Yeah, man.
It would have been cool if you named the 7-Eleven, because that also would have been a first.
Oh, I mean, that is there too. I thought I was trying to maybe. I said it earlier, so I don't know if I should say something else. I think it's still there on Peck Road in Bryant. I believe it's literally, because we were at the corner, catty corner.
Yeah, they almost never changed locations or shut down. So
Yeah.
Maybe just change owners. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. People want to come check you out or get in touch with you. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can check out justinrivera.com, Rivera.com. I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram at the Justin Rivera, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Justin Rivera Show. So you can find me on there. Check me out. If you're in Vegas, you can come check me out at the Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club every Wednesday, 7:30. I'm in the middle of a show with the resident headliner there, Michael Yo, comedian, and my Las Vegas residency. It got picked up again, so we're actually on downtown on Fremont Street. So I was doing it, and then we were trying to find new venues that would keep us in there consistently. So it just started last week. So and right after this, I'm headed over there to do Jimmy Kimmel's, and then the Fremont Street shows Thursday to Sunday. Those are family friendly, and the Wednesday show is an adult comedy show. So and here's some cool news. You could also probably catch me at the Oyo Hotel. I'll be coming up there every select Fridays to Monday, I believe. So there'll be like 3 locations where you can come catch me out in Vegas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now you're sleeping in a hotel, not in your car.
Sleeping in a hotel, not in the car, which is great for my sciatic nerve pain.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, man.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Well, there you go. Another show in the books. I really enjoyed that. I like to learn about people, what motivates them, what drives their passions, and sort of their own story, right? And here is the show has often had people where you see their success, but you don't know what led up to that. And here you have someone who's in the profession really since the age of 6, starting at the age of 6 and then even becoming a professional, getting money for it at the age of 12. So I think it's so easy to look at someone who's successful and think like, oh, maybe they just got this lucky break or, it just fell upon them. But more often than not, the stories are like yours, Justin, that it's a long time coming and developed over many, many, many years and hours of work. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the show for you. Thank you for staying with us. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to support the show in a more meaningful way, please check us out on Patreon and become a patron of the show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, you can find the full back catalog of episodes on our website, mysgv.net. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind of mother.